We are now under a week away from the beginning of the 2021-22 NHL season, which is just insane. I feel like this past month has just flown by. So before I forget, again, like last year, I want to get my award predictions out to you guys before the season starts. I've done these heading into the 2018-19 and the 2019-20 seasons, but for some reason, I just forgot to do it last year. And before I get started, one thing I should clarify, I'm not going to give you guys my predictions for every single award. I'm just going to go over the major awards, or the ones that I view as the major awards, those being the Hart Trophy, the Rocket Richard, the Art Ross, the Norris Trophy, the Calder Trophy, the Vezina, the Selke, and the President's Trophy. And as always, these are just my opinions, you don't have to agree. If you disagree, just be sure to get down there in the comment section down below and let me know what your predictions look like for the upcoming season, and while you're down there, you might as well leave a like on the video, I'd really appreciate it. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the President's Trophy, which is awarded to the team who finishes the regular season with the most points. Last year it was won by the Colorado Avalanche, and this season I'm actually going to go with the team that they narrowly beat out to win the Presidents last season, the Vegas Golden Knights. In my opinion, heading into the upcoming season, on paper, Vegas and Colorado are the two most stacked teams in the league. A couple of reasons as to why I went with Vegas over Colorado. For one, I wanted to change things up and not pick the winner from last year, because spoiler alert, I did that with a couple of the other awards and I didn't just want the whole video to be me predicting the same winners as last year for every single one. And for two, I feel like overall Vegas had a better offseason than the Avalanche. Obviously both teams lost their starting goaltenders, so I feel like that kind of cancels out. But on top of losing Grubauer, Colorado also lost two pretty impactful top 9 forwards in Jonas Donskoy, who went to Seattle in the expansion draft, and Brendan Saad, who signed with the St. Louis Blues as a free agent. I definitely think Colorado is still going to be a powerhouse, be one of the best teams in the league, but I don't think they're quite as stacked as they were last season. Also, Vegas is in a weaker division. They're going to get more games against the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, the bottom teams in the Pacific, so that may factor in. So I'm taking the Golden Knights to be the best regular season team in 2021-22 and win the President's Trophy. Moving on now to the Art Ross Trophy, which is the scoring title awarded to the player who finishes with the most points at the end of the regular season, and this is an easy one. I'm going with Connor McDavid. I feel like if you choose anyone else here, you're just trying to force it a little bit too much. Over the past 5 NHL seasons, Connor McDavid leads all skaters with a 1.45 points per game. For reference, the person in second place behind him has a 1.30 points per game, and that's Nikita Kucherov, so McDavid has a lot of breathing room there. I believe this past season McDavid finished with around a 1.87 points per game, which is ridiculous. If he stays healthy, I feel like he is a lock to win this award. The only way I could see it being somebody else is if McDavid misses a significant amount of time. The Rocket Richard Trophy, the goal scoring title awarded to the player who finishes the regular season with the most goals, and I'm being a sucker here again. I'm going with last year's winner, Austin Matthews. I just feel like it's pretty clear cut that he's the best goal scorer in the league right now, and yes, you can make all the playoff jokes you want, but he hasn't had any problems in the regular season, and this is a regular season award. I certainly don't expect Matthews to score at quite the same pace he did this past season, because he's not going to be beating up on Canadian teams all year, but also you have to consider he played pretty much all last season with a messed up wrist. I feel like that's not talked about enough. Heading into this upcoming season, his wrist should be at or close to 100%. Austin Matthews may be more dangerous than ever. That does it for the results-based awards. Now let's get into the awards that are determined with voting, starting off with the Calder Trophy, which is basically the Rookie of the Year award. And I know the odds-on favorite this season is Cole Caulfield of the Montreal Canadiens, and I definitely think he's going to be in contention, but he's not my pick. I'm going to go with the goaltender and say Spencer Knight of the Florida Panthers wins the Calder Trophy in 2022. I just think he's in a really good position. He's going to be playing behind a very good Florida Panthers team. He already has a little bit of NHL experience, so he's not just going to be thrown to the wolves. He played 4 regular season games for the Panthers this past season and looked really good. He was 4-0. My one concern with picking Spencer Knight to win the Calder Trophy would be the games played. Obviously, the Panthers still have Sergei Bobrovsky, and I feel like no matter what, he's going to get a good amount of starts as well. Let's say they split the starts this season, 41 games each. I'm not sure if that would be a big enough sample size for Spencer Knight to beat out a player, for an example like Cole Caulfield, if he put up 60 points or something like that. So that's my biggest worry. I'm pretty confident in Spencer Knight putting up the stats good enough to win the Calder. I just don't know if it's going to be a big enough sample size, but we'll see, I guess. The Selke Trophy, awarded to the best defensive forward in the league, and I'm going with a first-time winner here, Joel Eriksson Ek of the Minnesota Wild. Joel Eriksson Ek has been a really solid defensive centerman pretty much ever since he came into the league, but this past season he really broke out and and started to put up good offensive numbers along with being a really good defensive centerman, and in doing so, he got a lot more recognition for how good he is defensively. He actually finished 4th in Selke Trophy voting this past season, so this isn't a complete off-the-board pick here. He's only 24 years old. I think there's still room there for Eric Sinek to grow and get better. He projects to be on a line with Kirill Kaprizov and Mats Zuccarello this upcoming season. I expect him to have a pretty big year. The Hart Trophy, I was gonna save this for last because it's the league's MVP. I think it's the biggest award, but my answer is kind of boring, so I'm just gonna get it over with now. I'm going with Connor McDavid, big surprise. Like I said when talking about the Art Ross, I fully expect Connor McDavid to lead the league in points. I feel like he's almost a lock for that if he stays healthy. My projection for him is in between 125 and 130 points. If he does that, which I fully expect him to, and the Oilers make the playoffs, which I also expect them to since they're in such a weak division, I feel like there's almost no way he doesn't get the Hart Trophy. He's just so dominant. He's the best player on the planet. You could make the argument that maybe there will be some voters fatigue. Voters don't want to vote for the same guy every year. That's something we see a lot happen in the NBA when it comes to LeBron James. But McDavid only has 2 Hart Trophies in his career thus far. I feel like he still has a couple more to go before we see some voters fatigue happen. But I mean, Gretzky won 8 in a row. Obviously that was a different time, but I wouldn't be surprised if McDavid wins 5, 6 in a row or something like that. The Norris Trophy, which is basically the MVP of defensemen, it's awarded to the best defenseman in a given season. Last year it was won by Adam Fox, who was a first-time winner of the award, and this season I'm gonna go with a first-time winner again and take Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. I've said this, I feel like a dozen times throughout the past year and a half. I think Cale Makar is the best defenseman in the National Hockey League right now. To me, he's the McDavid of defensemen. He has the ability to take over a game. He's a game-breaking talent. I feel like there's a good chance Cale Makar would have won the Norris this past season had he played in all 56 games as opposed to just playing in 44. He was a point-per-game player in the 44 games he appeared in this past season. He was also a point per game in the 10 playoff games he played in as well. I honestly would not be surprised if we see Cale Makar have between 80 to 90 points this upcoming season. And I know when it comes to defensemen, points aren't everything, but his defensive analytics throughout his career have been damn good as well. So Cale Makar is my pick to win the 2022 Norris Trophy, which I believe is going to be the first of many for him. And now for the final award we're going to talk about in this video, the Vezina Trophy, awarded to the best goaltender in a given season. Last year it was won by Marc-Andre Fleury, who is now in the Chicago Blackhawks. This year I'm going to go with yet another first-time winner and predict Semyon Varlamov of the New York Islanders to win the 2022 Vezina Trophy. He's coming off of an incredible season where he had a goals against average just above 2, a save percentage of .929, a goals saved above expected of 9.82 according to Evolving Hockey, which was the 6th best in the league. He was an absolute beast, and at the start of last season it looked like for a period of time he may win the Vezina Trophy, but he just didn't end up playing enough games to compete with the likes of Marc-Andre Fleury and Andrei Vasilevsky in the type of seasons that they had. And honestly, this season that would be my only concern with this pick is the games played. It's similar to what I said when I picked Spencer Knight to win the Calder Trophy in Florida. Ilya Sorokin, the other goaltender for the New York Islanders, is really good as well, and I feel like he's going to get a good amount of starts along with Semyon Varlamov. If they split the starts and both play 40-ish games, then I don't really see a scenario where Varlamov can be in Vezina contention unless he has otherworldly numbers. I feel like he has to at the very least play 50+ games, which I definitely think could happen, or I probably wouldn't be picking Varlamov here. So that is going to do it for today's video. Those were my 2022 NHL Award predictions. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm really interested to hear your guys' predictions, so if you haven't already, be sure to get down there in the comment section down below. Let me know what your predictions look like. And also, if you guys are excited for the NHL season and you enjoyed today's video, then please be sure to go down there and leave the video a like. It's completely free and it really does support the channel. It helps the video get pushed out more. I appreciate all of your guys' support, and I'm really hoping that the 21-22 season is going to be a real big year for the channel.